Imagine living in a country where hunger is normal, fear is inherited, and the government demands children as payment for a rebellion that happened generations ago. This is Panem, a nation built from the ruins of North America. At its center stands the capital, wealthy, theatrical, technologically advanced, and almost completely untouched by the suffering it controls. Surrounding it are 12 districts. Each district produces something the capital needs: coal, agriculture, factories, luxury goods, weapons. The capital takes the labor. The districts keep the poverty, and once every year, every district must surrender 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl, to compete in a televised fight to the death called the Hunger Games. The event is presented as entertainment, but it is not really a game. It is a ritual of power, a reminder that the capital can enter any family, take any child, and force everyone else to watch. Section 2. Katniss Everdeen. Everdeen is 16 years old and lives in District 12, one of the poorest districts in Panem. Her father died in a mine explosion. Her mother collapsed into grief. Katniss became the person who kept the family alive. She hunts illegally beyond the district fence. She trades food in the black market. She protects her younger sister, Prim. Katniss has already learned the most important rule of her world: no one is coming to save you. She is practical, guarded, and deeply suspicious of anyone who speaks about hope too easily. Her closest friend is Gale Hawthorne, another hunter who understands hunger, anger, and the cost of surviving under the capital. Together, they imagine escape. But imagination is easier than leaving. Their families depend on them. Responsibility keeps them trapped more effectively than fences. Section 3. I Volunteer. On the day of the reaping, the children of District 12 gather in the square. Names are drawn from glass bowls. For the boys, Peeta Mellark is selected. For the girls, the name is Primrose Everdeen. Prim is 12, small, gentle, the person Katniss has spent years protecting. Katniss does not think. She acts, she volunteers. This is the moment that defines her. Not because she is fearless. She is terrified, but fear does not slow her down when Prim is threatened. Katniss's first heroic act is not rebellion against the capital, it is love. She does not volunteer to become a symbol. She volunteers because one person matters more to her than her own life. The capital understands spectacle. It does not understand private loyalty. That difference will eventually become dangerous. Section 4. Peeta Mellark. Peeta is the baker's son. He appears kind, calm, and emotionally open in ways Katniss finds difficult to trust. Years earlier, when Katniss's family was starving, Peeta deliberately burned bread and threw it to her, accepting punishment from his mother. That bread helped keep Katniss alive. She remembers the moment, but she has never known what to do with the debt. In District 12, survival requires calculation. Peeta's kindness does not fit easily into Katniss's understanding of the world. She cannot tell whether he is sincere or strategic. This uncertainty becomes one of the central tensions between them. Katniss survives by hiding what she feels. Peeta survives by making emotion visible. Both forms of survival are dangerous. Section 5. The Train to the Capital. Katniss and Peeta travel to the capital with their mentor, Haymitch Abernathy, a former victor who drinks to escape the memories of his own games. Haymitch appears useless, but beneath the alcohol is someone who understands the capital perfectly. He knows that survival depends on more than strength. Tributes need sponsors. Sponsors send food, medicine, and tools. Sponsors choose tributes they care about. So before Katniss can survive the arena, she must survive the story told about her. This is one of the novel's sharpest ideas. The Hunger Games are not only physical violence. They are narrative violence. The capital controls how the tributes are introduced, dressed, interviewed, judged, and remembered. A child can die twice, first in the arena. Then in the story, the capital tells about that death. Section 6. The Girl on Fire. Katniss and Peeta are assigned a stylist named Cinna. Unlike most people in the capital, Cinna does not treat them like toys. He sees the possibility of a message. For the opening ceremony, he dresses them in black costumes that appear to burn with synthetic fire. They become unforgettable. Katniss is named the Girl on Fire. At first, the title is branding, a way to attract sponsors, but symbols can escape the people who create them. The capital wants Katniss to look extraordinary without becoming dangerous. It wants rebellion as fashion, courage as entertainment, fire without heat, but the image begins to mean more than the capital intended. Katniss does not yet understand that she is becoming a symbol. The audience does. Section 7, Training and Performance. The tributes train together. Some come from wealthier districts where children prepare for the games for years. These are the careers. They are stronger, better fed, and trained to kill. Katniss is skilled with a bow. Peeta is physically strong and talented at camouflage. But the greatest challenge is not learning how to fight. It is deciding what to reveal. During the private evaluation, the game makers ignore Katniss while eating and talking. She responds by firing an arrow into the apple held inside their roasted pig. It is reckless. It is also a refusal to be invisible. The game makers give her a high score. Attention can be protection. It can also paint a target on your back. Katniss's instinct is always to resist humiliation, even when resistance makes her more vulnerable. Section 8. The Love Story. During the televised interviews, Peeta tells the audience that he has loved Katniss for years. Katniss is furious. She believes he has made her look weak. Haymitch explains that the opposite is true. Now she is desirable. Now the audience sees a tragic romance. Now Peeta has given both of them a story. The Capitol turns emotion into currency. Love becomes a marketing strategy. But the strategy works because some part of the feeling may be real. This ambiguity matters. Katniss performs affection to survive. Peeta may be telling the truth. The games force them into a situation where sincere emotion and manipulation become impossible to separate. That confusion continues throughout the story. Katniss must ask herself, do I care about Peeta? Or am I playing the role the audience wants? And if the performance saves his life, does the difference matter? Section 9. Entering the arena. The tributes are lifted into the arena. They stand around the cornucopia, a structure filled with weapons and supplies. A countdown begins. Every tribute must decide whether to run or fight. The games begin with chaos. Children kill children. The Capitol turns panic into spectacle. Katniss escapes with limited supplies. She enters the forest. Her hunting skills keep her alive. She finds water. She climbs trees. She observes. She waits. Her greatest advantage is not violence. It is patience. Katniss has spent years surviving scarcity. The arena is artificial, but hunger is familiar. Section 10, the Career Pack. The career tributes form an alliance. Peeta appears to join them. Katniss interprets this as betrayal, but Peeta's position is more complicated. He is protecting her without being able to explain himself. The careers track Katniss to a tree. She becomes trapped. Above her is a nest of trackerjackers, genetically engineered wasps whose venom causes hallucinations and death. With the help of Rue, the young tribute from District 11, Katniss cuts the nest down. The careers scatter. One of them dies. Katniss steals her bow. For the first time, Katniss becomes fully armed. But victory comes with venom. She collapses into hallucinations. In the Hunger Games, every advantage carries a cost. Section 11, Rue. Rue is 12 years old. She reminds Katniss of Prim. She is small, observant, and underestimated. Katniss and Rue form an alliance. Rue understands plants and trees. Katniss understands hunting. Together they sabotage the career's food supply. Their partnership is practical, but it also becomes deeply personal. Rue's presence breaks through Katniss's emotional defenses. She is no longer protecting an abstract ally. She is protecting another child. Then Rue is killed. Katniss arrives too late to save her. She kills Rue's attacker. But revenge does not undo the death. Katniss covers Rue's body with flowers. This act has no strategic value. It does not improve her chances of survival. It is a message. Rue was not entertainment. She was not a piece in the Capitol's game. She was a person. The flowers restore dignity where the games demand spectacle. This may be Katniss's first truly political act. She does not make a speech. She creates an image the Capitol cannot fully control. Section 12. The rule change. The game makers announce that two tributes from the same district may now win together. Katniss immediately searches for Peeta. She finds him badly injured and camouflaged beside a river. He has a serious wound. Katniss moves him into a cave. The romance begins again. She kisses him. She speaks to the cameras. She tries to convince the audience that their love is real. Sponsors send help when the performance succeeds. The cave scenes are intimate, but they are never private. Every gesture is watched. Every kiss has an audience. The Capitol has entered the most personal part of their relationship. Katniss uses the performance to keep Peeta alive. But performance changes the performer. By pretending to care, she is forced to confront how much she actually does. Section 13, the feast Peeta needs medicine. The game makers announce a feast at the cornucopia, where each remaining tribute will find something they desperately need. Katniss knows it is a trap. She goes anyway. Her love story may be partly strategic. Her decision to risk death for Peeta is not. At the cornucopia, Katniss is attacked by Clove. Clove mocks Rue's death. Before she can kill Katniss, Thresh, the male tribute from Rue's district, intervenes. He kills Clove and spares Katniss because of what she did for Rue. This moment reveals something the Capitol tries to deny. The districts are not natural enemies. They can recognize one another's humanity. They can remember kindness. They can choose debt over hatred. The games are designed to turn oppressed people against one another. Katniss's actions create solidarity across district lines. That is far more dangerous than her skill with a bow. Section 14, the final tributes. The arena grows smaller. The game makers use fire, weather, and mutated creatures to force the tributes together. Nothing in the arena is neutral. Nature itself has been designed by the state. Katniss and Peeta face Cato, the last career tribute. He has spent his life training for this moment. Yet near the end, even Cato recognizes the truth. He was never powerful. He was only useful. The Capitol turned him into a weapon and promised that violence would make him important. Now the same system is preparing to destroy him for entertainment. Cato's final desperation shows that the careers are also victims. Privilege does not free them from the games. It simply teaches them to cooperate with their own exploitation. Section 15, the Nightlock berries. Katniss and Peeta survive. Then the rule allowing 2 victors is revoked. The Capitol demands that they kill one another. This is the final test. The games have always been about more than death. They are about obedience. The Capitol wants one victor because one victor proves that loyalty, friendship, and love will collapse under pressure. Katniss refuses. She and Peeta prepare to eat poisonous Nightlock berries. If the Capitol insists on one victor, it will have none. The threat works. The game makers stop them. Katniss and Peeta are declared joint victors. On the surface, they survive, but politically, Katniss has done something enormous. She has forced the Capitol to change the outcome. For one moment, the system obeys her. That moment cannot be forgotten. Section 16. Was it love or defiance? After the games, Katniss learns that the berries were interpreted as rebellion. The Capitol does not care whether she intended a political statement. Power is threatened by effects, not intentions. Haymitch tells her she must convince everyone that she acted only because she was desperately in love. Love is safe. Rebellion is not. Katniss must perform innocence. This is the cruel irony of her victory. She survives the arena, but the performance continues. She is no longer fighting for food or medicine. She is fighting to control the meaning of what she did. The Capitol understands that symbols can become weapons. It will now try to reshape Katniss before the districts do. Section 17. The real purpose of the games. The Hunger Games are often described as punishment for rebellion, but punishment is only part of their purpose. The games create division. Each district watches its children fight children from other districts. The oppressed are taught to fear and hate one another. The Capitol remains above the violence. This is a classic system of control. When people direct their anger sideways, they do not direct it upward. The games also transform suffering into entertainment. Viewers in the Capitol are trained to consume pain without responsibility. They admire costumes. They choose favorites. They send gifts. They discuss romance. The spectacle creates emotional distance. The tributes become characters. Once suffering becomes a story, the audience can enjoy it without confronting the system that caused it. Section 18. Hunger is control. Hunger is not only a condition in the novel, it is a political tool. The districts remain weak because they are underfed. Katniss is forced to hunt because official systems do not provide enough. Families take additional grain in exchange for entering their children's names more times in the reaping. The poorest children face the highest risk. This is not random cruelty. It is engineered inequality. The Capitol does not merely punish poverty. It uses poverty to produce obedience. A starving population has less time to organize. A desperate parent may accept almost anything to feed a child. Hunger narrows the future until survival becomes the only possible ambition. Section 19. Katniss and the politics of care. Katniss is not naturally ideological. She does not begin with a theory of revolution. She begins with people. Prim, Rue, Peeta. Her political awakening happens through care. Every time the Capitol treats a person as expendable, Katniss responds by insisting that the person matters. She volunteers for Prim, she honors Rue, she risks herself for Peeta, she refuses to kill the person beside her simply because the Capitol demands it. Her rebellion is not born from speeches, it is born from loyalty. This makes her dangerous. The Capitol can control fear more easily than love. Fear isolates. Love connects. Every relationship Katniss protects creates a bond the Capitol did not authorize. Section 20. The meaning of fire follows Katniss throughout the story. At first it is part of a costume. Then it becomes identity. Fire is warmth, destruction, visibility, transformation. The Capitol uses fire to make Katniss attractive. But Katniss turns the image into something unstable. She cannot be displayed without reminding people that fire spreads. This is the problem with propaganda. A government may create a symbol for its own purposes, but once the public gives that symbol new meaning, control begins to break. Katniss becomes the girl on fire before she becomes a rebel. The image arrives before the intention. Section 21. Peeta's different kind of resistance. Peeta tells Katniss that he does not want the games to change him. He wants to die as himself. Katniss initially does not understand. She is focused on staying alive. Peeta is focused on preserving identity. This difference defines them. Katniss resists through action. Peeta resists through moral self-definition. He knows the Capitol's deepest victory would not be killing him. It would be turning him into someone who accepts its values. His kindness is not weakness. It is refusal. Peeta's compassion creates a moral contrast with the games. He demonstrates that surviving physically is not enough if the system controls who you become. Section 22. The final message. The Hunger Games begins with a girl trying to save her sister. It ends with that same girl becoming a threat to an entire political system. But Katniss does not become dangerous because she is the strongest tribute. She is not the best strategist. She is not the most powerful fighter. She becomes dangerous because she keeps recognizing humanity where the Capitol demands roles. Tribute, victor, enemy, lover, symbol. Katniss repeatedly sees the person beneath the category. Prim is not a name in a glass bowl. Rue is not an opponent. Peeta is not a sacrifice required by the rules. And Katniss herself is not merely the story the Capitol tells about her. The berries matter because they transform private loyalty into public defiance. Katniss and Peeta refuse to let the Capitol decide that survival must require betrayal. That refusal becomes visible to every district. The Hunger Games asks a brutal question. What happens when a government controls food, media, movement, memory, and death? Its answer is not simple optimism. The system remains powerful. The Capitol survives. Katniss returns home traumatized and watched. But one illusion has been damaged. The Capitol is no longer invincible. It can be forced to react. It can be embarrassed. It can be afraid. Katniss enters the arena believing survival means staying alive. She leaves understanding that survival can also mean protecting the part of yourself the system wants to destroy. The games try to teach every tribute the same lesson. You are alone. Trust is weakness. Love is a weapon the Capitol owns. Katniss proves the opposite. She survives because people matter to her. And in a world built on isolation, that may be the most rebellious thing anyone can do.